Thanks ever so much. Firstly, before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on which the lands we meet, and also where our projects are based in Western Australia. We've been in the news a little bit recently. We raised $27 million last Tuesday. It was a placement to a bunch of institution and cornerstone investors, and I think we'll get a bit more colour on exactly who's come in to the registry in due course. But we're very pleased with that. It was a placement that was oversubscribed and certainly at a premium to the market. And I've certainly seen additional placements recently. They've all been discounted. So somebody saw opportunity with our shares to get in at a 4-cent share price, and we welcome them to the register. I mentioned the placement because it's going to be able to finance this, the Mount York Gold project, the project which I'm going to talk about, all the way through to a development decision. Now, we have 1.4 million ounces in the Pilbara. We're very excited about that, but truly that is not the headline today. The headline is really about how big this project can be in terms of global resource. We also released a couple of weeks ago some news that we had secured the gold and base metal rights to the extension of the deposit, which gives us a clear runway to grow this project well above the 1.4 million ounces. So our neighbour to the north, Fender Minerals, we signed a mineral rights agreement to acquire the extension of the Mount York deposit on their ground, and we're very happy with that, and I'll talk about that today. Couple of disclaimers. I will be making some forward-looking statements today. So in terms of the company snapshot, we are ASX listed. As I mentioned, we have 1.4 million ounces in the Pilbara at the Mount York Gold Project, and we signed this landmark sales agreement back last year to sell non-core assets to Pilbara Minerals next to the Pilgangoora mine for $20 million, 10 of which they paid, and another 10 which we expect to receive before the end of this calendar year. So that gives us another $10 million above what we receive in the placement. We also negotiated the mineral rights, which I've already mentioned, to give us a clear runway to multi-million ounce status on this project. And we've actually been drilling this project now with 3 rigs full-time since April. So essentially, we've been very busy. The geologists are tired, but they're very excited to move the rigs now onto the extension of the deposit on the PLS ground, and that should be happening any time now. So with this project, when we acquired the project in 2016, it had 123,000 ounces. And today, with the 1.4 million ounces, basically what it means is over the past 7 or 8 years, we've managed to increase the resources over 10 times. Every time we drill this project, the resources go up. And as a geologist and an experienced gold geologist, the question for me is always, how big can this deposit go? It's open at depth, and it continues along strike to the northwest. So the question really I will leave you with at the end of this presentation is, look at our share price, look at our market capitalisation, and you work out on a peer comparison basis what the value of our proposition is in relation to others. I think you'll find that we are significantly undervalued. I've got a slide here, one slide on Roe Hills. That's also another project that can go to resource in a very different location in the Kalgoorlie area, and we certainly understand the price of real estate in the Kalgoorlie area. This is also likely to go to, in 2026, likely to be a maiden resource announcement too. As a board, you'll see some familiar faces there, particularly Simon Lill. He's ex-De Grey, oversaw one of the largest corporate transactions in the mining industry this year with the takeover by Northern Star of De Grey to acquire the Hemi project, which is only 55 kilometres to the northwest of us. That was only discovered in 2019, and it really shows that the Pilbara has a lot more to offer. We certainly feel that is the case. It's very much underexplored. I've worked across the world. I can tell you the Pilbara is very much underexplored. You can see our share price performance. We have been recognised in the market. Certainly, we're now followed by Petra Capital. They have a 9-cent recommendation buy, and certainly supported also by Bell Potter and Evolution from Sydney. So we raised $27 million. What it means is, effectively, by the end of this year, we should have between $40 and $45 million in the bank. That's a good war chest to go and develop this project, or at least to take it through to a development decision. And certainly about 20% of our share registry now will be owned by Cornerstone and institutional investors, both domestic and international. And I think the names will speak for themselves when they announce they are major shareholders of our company. In terms of our project base, pretty simple. We've got a block of ground in the north of Western Australia, and also some contiguous land holding in the Yilgarn Craton in the south near Kalgoorlie. So both excellent jurisdictions with lots of mines nearby, and importantly, hungry mills. You can see on the graphic there on the left-hand side, the blue, the light blue licenses. They are PLS licenses where we now own the gold and base metal rights to that ground. This is a shot of the main hill at the Mount York Gold Project. You can see we are tackling some quite interesting topography there. That hill is actually, we call it the Hill of Gold. That is actually mineralisation that is 100 metres wide within the Banded Iron Formation host rock. So that is just one part of the overall main trend mineralisation. But a couple of fundamentals with the project. So if you don't see any other slides, then read this one. We feel we're quite unique. This is mineralisation in a Tier 1 jurisdiction. We've drilled it over 3 kilometres now. It is very much open at depth. We can't close the deposit out at depth. The mineralisation effectively optimises within a single open pit. And this is important. This is starting to show the quality of this asset in terms of it is one single open pit. If you look at all our peer comparison companies, most of them have all of their resources within multiple open pits strewn across the countryside. I'm not banging them, but we just have a very different geological scenario here. So there is a quality of asset here. So I've mentioned already that we've secured the additional 1.5 kilometres and about to start drilling on that. Very exciting. We know it's mineralised. Certainly some legacy data from PLS suggests that it's not just mineralised. There is high grade there, and there is also the Banded Iron Formation, the target unit. But in most cases, they haven't actually drilled the target unit. So the geologists are extremely excited to actually push the holes through to the Banded Iron Formation across the boundary there. We did release a scoping study end of November 2024. I don't have time to talk about it, but it basically said on a very restricted basis, this project makes a lot of money, whichever way you slice and dice it. So we are looking at probably a much different project going forward when we do get to our multi-million ounce status, if we do. Clean metallurgy as well. So another good point about this, and if you come to the booth, you can see some of the mineralisation in core there. And the strategy really is to keep drilling. We're not going to put studies ahead of drilling. We are going to continue to make sure that we grow this resource as much as we can. This is a long section of the resource. You can see for the Sydney siders here, I've put a few Sydney Harbour bridges. We need 9 of them in total along strike of each other to show you how big it is. If you come to the project, bring your walking boots. You're going to be walking for quite some distance. And you'll also notice the mineralisation is consistent. There's almost not one area in there that is not mineralised above 0.5. So it is a very consistent ore body. And I just draw your attention to what we're going to do on the left-hand side of the graphic in terms of drilling 50 holes for 10,000 metres on the PLS side. So is it going to be 2 million ounces? Is it 3 million ounces? We don't know, but we're going to test it. Just very quickly, I'd like you to really see what we're going to achieve in 2025 on the project. Mining lease application, we should get the mining lease granted this year. That's our estimation. It does require a mining agreement with the native title party, and that is in progress. It's very much at the latter stages, so we do expect to have that trigger the mining lease grant. We also want to have all of the database complete for the mineral resource estimate, which we really do look to put out first quarter of next year. We've signed up now consultants to complete that work ahead of time, so you can expect in January, February or March a new resource estimate. And really coming through, we're looking at options to not even do a pre-fees, to go through now to look at the potential to just run through. Now we're fully funded, now we're de-risked, to go through completely to a DFS. It probably makes sense. I don't have time to talk about this, but this is the Roe Hills project. Go to our website, have a look. It is going to be a maiden resource, we believe, this year, and it's a second opportunity for the company to really increase ounces for the company, for the inventory. So really, I'll leave you with this slide. In terms of, if you're a shareholder, you'd be a happy shareholder by now. I think we've seen a 330% increase in growth since a 1 cent share price. Look at all those parameters there, compare them to some of our peer comparison companies. You'll see that this is a quality asset. If you believe me, you'll understand that the resources are going to grow, and hopefully you join the registry and watch to see how we go. And thanks ever so much for your time.